Hey everyone, this is Coach Caressa, and today we're going to go over the 4-4 cover 3, which is the scheme that we are going to run as a team. Um, okay, let's get into it. I've already gone over in a separate video how the defensive line is going to align, but effectively we are going to have two defensive ends, and they will always align in five techs. Okay, we are going to have a three tech, or in other words, a defensive tackle in the B gap, and this will always be to the field. Okay, remember, there's two sides to a football field. There's the field, and then there is the boundary. The boundary is the side that has less field, and the field side is the side that has more field. Okay, so all you have to do is just look at where the ball is placed and look to the side of the field that has more space or more room, and that is the field side, and the side of the field that has less space or less room, and that is the boundary side. Okay, so we are going to have a defensive tackle to the field side in the B gap, and then we are going to have a defensive tackle in a 2-eye technique in the A gap. Okay, so if this is so we have this three tech here to the field side, so we're assuming that this is the field. And then we have a 2-eye tech here in the A gap, and we're assuming that this is the boundary side. Okay. We are going to have four linebackers, and their names are the Sam, the Mike, the Jack, and the Will. Okay. The Sam and the Will are outside linebackers. The Mike and the Jack are inside linebackers. We are going to have two corners and a free safety. Okay, let's go over the rules for the Mike. Okay. The Mike, your base alignment is going to be either a 10 tech or a 30 tech at 40 yards. So, what that means is you are always going to be on the left side of the formation, and you are going to line up in the open gap. Okay. So, if there is a 3 tech to this side, you are going to line up in the A gap, or what's also called a 10 tech. Okay. But if the 3 tech is to the other side and there's a 2-eye tech right here, then you're going to line up in this 30 tech or in the B gap. Okay, so the Mike, all you're doing is you're looking forward and you're looking at the an empty gap, and that's where you are aligning. Okay, and it's going to either be in a 10 tech or a 30 tech. Okay, now, the jack, your base alignment is the same thing. You're either going to be in a 30 tech or a 10 tech, depending on the alignment of the defensive tackle. So in this situation right here, okay, we have a 2-eye tech here in the A gap. So you would align in a 30 tech or over the B gap. Okay. Okay. Um, and again, I want you at 4 yards, just as a base alignment. But if you feel more comfortable at 5 yards, or if you feel more comfortable at 3 yards, that's fine as well. Okay. Your base read assignment, okay, your base run assignment is your gap to scrape, okay, and your base read is the triangle, okay. So, for example, here, Mike, your base read assignment would be this A gap because you're aligned over in a 10 tech. And then if the ball goes here, you're scraping. If the ball goes here, you're scraping. The jack is the same thing. And this here, your alignment is in the 30 tech. So your base, excuse me, your base run assignment is this B gap. And then you are scraping to either side. Okay. Mike and Jack, remember you play the run first, pass second. All right. And then your base read is the triangle. We will go over this in practice, but you really want to create a triangle between the running back, the guard, and this guard. Okay. So you are reading this triangle so that you can hit your gap and make tackles for losses. All right. We'll go over the trips and the tray rules in a second. Okay, Sam and Will, you have actually the same rules. Okay, your base run assignment is D gap. Okay, so remember the D gap is anywhere out here. This is actually the C gap, but the D gap is out here, and you are a force player. Okay, so the Sam and the Will, your job is to set the edge. You have outside contain, and you push everything back so that we can rally to the football. All right. Um, your base read is also the triangle, but your triangle is going to look more kind of like this. Okay. And we can talk about that in practice if you haven't worked that with your club teams. All right. Okay, so let's get into your alignment. Sam and Will, your alignment is a little bit more complex. If there is only one wide receiver, okay, then you are 2 by 4 outside EMOL. So what that means is you are 2 yards. Let me go to an alignment with one out wide receiver. Okay. See how there's one, this is called a split wide receiver, but I just put wide receiver. So you are 2 yards outside the end man on the line, and you are 4 yards back. Okay, so that's what 2 by 4 outside end man on line. So the end man on line right here is this tackle. So you're going to go 2 yards out and 4 yards back. And that's your alignment, okay, for one wide receiver. For two wide receivers, you are going to apex the end man on the line and the number 2 at 4 yards. Okay, so this is a perfect example. There's 1, 2 wide receivers. Okay, so you are going to apex. What apex means is cut in half. Okay, so you're just going to look at this distance and cut that in half. The number 2 wide receiver, which is this Y, and the end man on the line, which is this tackle. So you're just going to find the halfway point between these two players, and that's where you're going to line at 4 yards. Okay. If in trips, okay, in trips, you are going to apex number 2 and number 3 at 4 yards. Okay. So this is what trips will look like, or some variation of this. This is the number 1. This is the number 2. This is the number 3. And this is the end man on the line. You are going to apex number 2 and 3 at 4 yards. Okay. So you just find the second receiver, the third receiver, and you apex number 2 and 3. All right. At 4 yards. Okay. So in the event that there is a nub or a tight end plus a wing set, okay, you are going to be 2 by 0 outside the end man on the line. Okay. So you're going to be 2 yards outside of the end man on the line. And this 0 means you're going to be on the line of scrimmage. Okay. So let's find a formation where we would have that. Okay. Right here. Okay. So right here, we have the tackle, guard, center guard, tackle, and then we have this Y tight end, and then we have this H back in a wing set. So remember, anytime you see a tight end wing set, you go 2 by 0 outside end man on the line. Okay. Now this is what's called a nub. Okay. A nub is when there is a tackle or a tight end and there's no one to the outside. You see how there's no other wide receivers or offensive players? So you are going to be 2 by 0 outside the end man on the line. Okay. This is another one. Okay. We have another tight end wing set. Okay. So the Sam is going to line up 2 by 0 outside the end man on the line. Let me see if I can find one more. Here's a good one. Okay. So right here, we have a tackle and then a tight end. That's what this H is. Okay, so this is a nub because there's no one outside here. So you're 2 by 0 outside the end man on the line. All right. Okay, that's great. Okay, so that is for a nub or a tight end wing set. Okay. Remember, your base read or your base run assignment is the D gap, and you are a force player. Okay, so you are setting the edge. You have outside contain. No one gets outside of you. You're pushing everyone back in. Okay. Okay, let's go back to the Mike and the Jack and their trips rules. For trips, it's actually pretty easy. You just bump one over. Okay. You're just going to bump one linebacker spot over. Okay. So you're either going to apex the end man on the line and the number 3, or you're going to be in a 10-30 tech position. Okay. So let me show you what that looks like. Okay. So right here, the Sam is apexing number 2 and the end man on the line. The Mike is over this A gap, okay, which is also called a 10 tech, and the jack is in this 30 tech, okay? Now, if they move this H over into trips, you see that? You see how this is the same formation, except the H is now going to come over into trips? Okay, so we know what the SAM is going to do. Okay, the SAM is going to apex number 2 and 3. Now the Mike, you were in this 10 tech, and now you have to bump one over. Okay, and now you have to apex the end man on the line and number 3. Okay, now the jack, all right, now you are going to bump one over from the 30 tech to the 10 tech. Okay, so take a look here. So really, if we look at this, the Mike is moving into the Sam's position, and the jack is moving into the Mike's position. Okay, that's it. That's all you're doing in trips. Okay, you're just bumping one linebacker spot over. And again, it's either going to be, you're either going to apex the end man on the line. Okay, so you're either going to take the place of the Sam or the Will, or you're going to take the place of the other inside linebacker. Okay. All right. Let me show you another example of what trips would look like. Okay, so this is a good example. Okay, so let me see if I could. Yeah, so this is what. Okay, trips Y right. Okay, so the Will is going to apex number 2 and number 3. So we have 1, 2, 3. Okay. The jack is going to bump one linebacker spot over, so he is going to take the Will's old spot. Okay, which means that you are now going to apex the end man on the line and the number 3 receiver at 4 yards. And then the Mike, so the Mike was originally here in this 10 tech, and the Mike's going to bump one over, okay, to a 30 tech. All right. Okay. So let's look at your assignments for Trey. Okay, so what is Trey? Okay, this is a good example of Trey. Okay, Trey is where we have 3 receivers to one side, but one of the wide receivers is a tight end. Okay, so if you look here, we have the X, the H, and then the Y, that's a tight end. This is Trey. So this is different from trips, right? So this is a good example of trips. We have 3 split wide receivers out to the same side. That's trips. Okay, when you have 2 wide receivers and a tight end, that's Trey. All right. Now, the Mike rules for Trey is you're just going to bump to a 40 tech or a 0-0 tech depending on what side you are. Okay, so if we look here at twins, okay, here at twins, right, the Mike, we're assuming this is the field side because this is the side of the 3 tech. So the Mike is in this A gap or this 10 tech position. The jack, okay, is in this 30 tech or this B gap. But if they come out in Trey, all right, so now the Mike or the inside linebacker, in this case, the Mike, is going to bump to a 40 tech to the side of the Trey. And the jack is going to bump to a 0-0 tech, which is straight over the center. Okay. And a 40 tech is directly over the tackle. Okay. Now, let me see if I can find a different Trey. It's the same thing. I guess that was it. Okay. So just remember, guys, for the tackles, or excuse me, for the inside linebackers, okay, anytime you see a Trey, you're either going to line up over the tackle in a 40 tech or over the center in a 0-0 tech. Okay. Okay. So why do we have all of these alignments, linebackers? It's because we don't want to get out leveraged. Okay. So what that means is, see this trips? We have 1, 2, 3 to this side. So if the offense wants to run to this side, we have to all bump over to make sure that we don't get out leverage, which means that they have more blockers than we have defenders. Okay, that's the purpose of all these alignment rules. Okay, let's go to the free safeties. The free safety, you're always going to be in the center of the formation at 10 yards. Okay. So you just look at this X, you look at the Z, and you try to be in the center of the formation. It might be that you line up just over the center, but you just have to use your best judgment. Okay. Um, for any trips or tray formations, you're going to be in the inside shoulder of the number three. Okay. So, like, this is trips. This is our 1, 2, 3 receiver. So you're just going to find the inside shoulder, and that's where you're going to align. Okay. If we go to a tray position, okay, the inside number 3 wide receiver is this tight end. And so you're just going to align over or on the inside shoulder of the tight end. Okay. Free safety. Remember, you are pass first, run second. Okay. Your base run assignment is alley support. Okay, alley support, right? Um, and then we'll talk about pass assignments first. But remember, free safety, you are pass first, run second. The Mike, the Jack, the Sam, and the Will and our defensive line, they are run first, pass second. Okay, free safety, you are pass first, run second. All right, corners. We want you. Your base alignment is 1 by 8 outside of the number one. Okay. So what that means is you're going to find the number one receiver, which is in this case the X and the Z. You are going to be 1 yard outside and 8 yards back. Okay, that's your base alignment. If you feel more comfortable at 5 yards, if you feel more comfortable at 10 yards, be an athlete and go make a play. But that's just our base alignment. Okay. If there is no wide receiver, okay, there's no wide receiver to your side, then you are 2 by 4 outside the end man on the line. Okay, so let's go find one of those. Okay, right here. Okay, you see how there's, so this is trips, this is going to be a trips Y right. So we have 3 wide receivers to this side and a tight end to this side. So the corner, you don't have a split wide receiver. So you're 2 by 4. Okay, outside the end man on the line, which is this tight end. And in this situation, you're going to focus on the tight end's route. Okay, so what we're worried about here is we have all these people out here, and then the tight end's going to run like a corner route or something like that. Okay, so that's what you have to really pay attention to. But we're talking about alignment right now. Okay, so remember, if there's no split wide receiver to your side, you are just 2 by 4 outside the end man on the line. So let me find you another one. Yeah, here's a good one. Okay. Again, there's no split wide receiver. We just have this tight end wing set. So you're 2 by 4 outside the end man on the line. Okay. Let's see if I can find another example here. Yep. So right here. Okay. So ace twins. Okay. There's no split wide receiver out here. So the corner, you are 2 by 4 outside the end man on the line. Okay. Okay. I think you understand that. So let's go into a nub and tight end wing set. It's the same thing. Okay. Because a nub and a tight end wing set is the same thing as having no wide receiver. Okay, so you're just 2 by 4 outside the end man on the line. Your base run assignment is you are a force player. Okay, so nothing gets outside of you here. You are pushing everything back in. And remember, you are pass first, run support second. Okay, so you are always reading the pass first, and then you are run support second. Okay. What I would encourage you guys to do is here I have gaps and techniques just in case you need a refresher. Remember, if it has just one digit, so one number, like a 3 tech, that means that the defensive tackle is going to line up on the outside shoulder of the guard. And then you just add a 0. Excuse me, you just add a 0 for linebackers. So if you're a linebacker and I say, hey, line up in a 10 tech, that means you're in a 1 tech plus a 0, so you're just going to be on the inside shoulder of this center or in the A gap shaded to the inside. Okay. Okay. Now, what I want you guys to do is I tried to put the most common formations, and I want you guys to memorize your alignment and assignment rules, and then memorize where you should be aligning. Okay, defense is all about leverage. Okay, and we are not going to be out leveraged with these assignment rules. Okay. Alignment and assignment rules. Okay. So take a look at all these. Have your parents or your siblings or your friends quiz you. Okay. If they come out in ace twins and you're the Sam, you should apex number two and the end man on the line, stuff like that. So figure out what your position is, learn the rules, and then learn the applications. And of course, you can always call me or you can come to me if you have any questions. Okay. Okay. Real quickly, let's go over our pass coverage rules. Okay. Pass coverage is very easy. We're just playing a standard cover three. Okay. So the Sam and the Will have the flats, the Mike and the Jack have the hook to curl, and then the corner, the free safety, and the corners and the free safety have deep third. Okay. So anytime we're passing, this is your base pass assignments. Okay. Okay, now let's go over the blitz scheme. um, we're going to have a very simple blitz scheme. Okay, so the blitz scheme is the Sam, you are number one. Mike, you are number two. Jack, you are number three. And Will, you are number four. And if I want you to blitz, I'm just going to hold up one of my fingers or two of my fingers or three of my fingers or whatever. Okay. So for example, if I want the Sam to blitz, then I'm just going to hold up number one with my finger. Okay. Now, here's the issue, guys. You're always going to blitz your gap. Okay. And then your coverages will change if we are blitzing. Okay. So if there's a single linebacker blitz, okay, then we have to make sure that the flats are covered. And then we're now not covering the hook to curl zone. We're now covering what's called the hole. Okay. So this is a better example. Okay. So if we are blitzing one linebacker, let's say we blitz the Sam, the Mike knows, okay, now the Mike has to get out here to the flat, and the Jack isn't coming to the hook to curl zone. The Jack is coming to what's called the hole, which is the area directly over the center. Okay. Now, let's say we blitz two. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So this is a two blitz. So still a single linebacker blitz, and we're bringing the Mike. The Mike's going to hit this A gap. The Sam and the Will have the flats, but the Jack knows that the Jack has the hole and not the hook to curl zone. Okay. For a number three blitz, okay, now the Jack is going to blitz this B gap here. The Sam and the Will have the same exact, they will get the flats. And the Mike now knows he's not going to the hook to curl zone. You are going to the hole. Okay. And again, if I blitz number four, which is the Will linebacker coming off the edge, the Jack just has to remember you have to get out to the flat. And the Mike, remember that you have to cover the hole. Okay. Okay, so this would be a 2-3 blitz, right? So this would be a situation where we blitz two linebackers, all right? In the event that we blitz two linebackers, okay, so I call this a double linebacker blitz, the non-blitzing linebackers cover the hook to curl zones, okay? So we are not going to cover the flats, okay? So for example, if I hold a 23 blitz, that's a 2 and a 3 with my fingers, the Sam and the Will, you are coming to this hook to curl zone. You're not coming out to the flats. Okay. We are giving up the flats in this situation. Okay. Same thing with a 14 blitz. This is a 1-4. That means I want the Sam and the Will to blitz. The Mike and the Jack, you're going to the hook to curl zones. Okay. Now that is your standard assignment, so that shouldn't be a problem. Okay. Let's say I call a 1-3 blitz. That means the Sam and the Jack are going to blitz. The Mike is still going to have the hook to curl zone. The Will no longer has the flat because anytime we are blitzing two, we have to cover these hook to curl zones. Okay. And finally, let's say I call a 2-4 blitz. Okay. Remember the Sam and the Jack, you are covering the hook to curl zones. All right. Here is a 12 blitz where the Sam and the Mike. The Jack's got to get way over to this hook to curl zone. Okay. And this is a 34 blitz, okay, where the Sam is coming over to the hook to curl zone and the Mike is coming. All right. Okay, so let's say that we bring Three linebackers, a triple linebacker blitz. The non-blitzing linebacker covers the hole. Okay. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So let's say, as an example, that I call a 1-3-4 blitz. So the Sam, the Jack, and the Will are blitzing. The Mike, you are just dropping to the hole. We are giving up the flats, okay, to cover the hole. All right. Let's just, and in the event that I call thunder, so I'll make the thunder sign with my hand. That means all of the linebackers are blitzing their gaps. So we're going to send 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. And the corners and the free safety, you're just going to have deep third. Okay. A couple of things with this setup: corners, free safety, corner, do not get beat deep. Okay. You are playing at 10 and 8 yards. Okay. You cannot get beat deep over your head. All right. Okay. Final issue. I will make a hang loose call. Okay. With my hands, with my fingers. Okay. This is the hang loose. What I want the linebackers to do is in this situation is to sugar their gaps and then drop into zone coverage. Okay. So what that means, okay, is linebackers, you are going to walk up to the gap as if you are blitzing, and then on the snap of the ball, you are going to get into your hook to curl zone. Okay, does that make sense? Now, not all of you have to sugar your gaps, but at least two of you do, or all of you can if you want. Okay, but I just want you guys to have fun with it. Okay, try to mess with the offense, try to get them to think that we're blitzing, and then to back out into zone coverage. So just have a lot of fun with it. And anytime I make a hang loose sign, okay, our D line, you do not have gap responsibilities, and you are free to pass rush. Okay, so I'm probably going to make the hang loose sign on second and long, or third and long, or fourth and long, if they're not punting. And defensive linemen, you are just getting after it, trying to get into, trying to sack the quarterback, and linebackers, you are just doing some pre-snap movements to try and confuse the quarterback, and then just dropping into your zones. Okay. All right. Let's go over the final thing, um, which is our goal line defense. Okay. And quads. So I don't know if they'll come out in quads, but if they do, it's pretty easy. We just keep bumping over. Okay. We always want at least one man in between each wide receiver and the end man on the line of scrimmage. So it's actually really simple, guys. You just bump one linebacker spot over. So if we were in trips, okay, now they're bringing quads. Now we all just bump over one more. Okay. And then finally, this is our goal line defense. So in our goal line defense, we are going to sub off our corners and add extra tackles. Okay. And in our goal line defense, it's very simple. Okay. We're going to line up in the A gap, in the B gap, in the C gap. Okay. Um, our Sam and Will, you are 2-by-0 outside the end man on the line. So you are on the scrimmage on the end man on the line. And then the free safety, and the Mike and the Jack, you are up, probably like 2 or 3 yards off the line of scrimmage, and you are just coming downhill to make tackles. Okay. Okay. We are going to send these PDFs to you guys. This is probably a simpler defensive structure than you did with your home teams. But what we really have to focus on is your alignment and assignment rules. Okay, this is critical, guys. This is critical. Okay, so please memorize these alignment and assignment rules. Okay, please review each of these formations and figure out where you would line up. Okay, in the event that the other team lines up in this formation. And then finally, please review your zone coverage rules. Please review your blitz scheme. Okay. And then finally, review your zone coverage rules in the event that we are blitzing. Okay, this is going to be really fun, guys. I'm looking forward to it.